How's it going, guys? Elixer here, bringing you a Smite tier list. If you want to just see the tier list in its entirety, you can skip to the end of this video. But if you want to hear my explanations for why I'm putting people in certain tiers, you can stick around for the entire video. In any case, this is going to be a support tier list. So I'm just going to go over where I think all the supports in Smite are currently ranked and why I think you should be playing some of them more than others. We'll just quickly go over the tiers and how they work. SS, the highest tier, is completely broken, game-breaking gods. S, these are going to be your top picks. If you're playing ranked, you should be banning these. A, these are going to be your balanced gods. Very viable. B tier is going to be your more situational support. You have to have certain team comps built around them to play to their strengths. Anything C or D, you're not going to want to pick, typically, unless you're just messing around having fun in casuals or something. And then D is just complete crap. Don't play them. But I don't think anyone on my tier list is going to be in D. The Aphrodite support. And I'm going to put her into C. I don't think she's very viable. I see a lot of new players to support trying to pick Aphrodite because they're not familiar with the Guardians or the Warriors yet. They don't know how they work. They come from Arena or Joust or something. But in Conquest, yeah, Aphrodite, very squishy. That's her biggest problem. Very mana reliant. She doesn't really become a great supporty type character until late in the game. Aphrodite is not a very safe pick. She can be camped by the jungler fairly easily, which is going to force you to use your ultimate to save yourself over and over. Solo side, and she'd be just fine, but as a support, I do not like her very much. Ares, I'm going to put Ares slightly below balanced. Okay. Ares is a very strong support if you can get him ahead. The problem with Ares is that his wave clear is garbage. And your chains, your main damaging ability, pretty hard to hit. Especially if you have any latency issues, lag, anything like that. And because of that, you can't pick him all the time and win. And if you fall behind with Ares, it's very hard to get back into the game. Now, he does always have his ultimate, which is useful in team fights, but if anyone picks beads, that kind of screws you over. I mean, yeah, you can always use it just to get rid of people's beads, but still, there are better ultimates for burning beads that are on a shorter cooldown. And I don't really recommend building areas with a lot of cooldown, because if you do that, you're not going to get to take the most advantage of his damage. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Similar to Aphrodite, complete lack of engagement tools. He doesn't have a leap or anything like that. So you're going to have to use a relic spot on Blink. What this means is either you're getting Blink early, and you're not going to be able to pick up a curse or a sprint or a meditation, one of the more team-oriented relics, or you wait until later in the game to get your Blink, but then you're not really going to be able to confirm as many early gank kills with your ultimate. So, for those reasons, I think Ares is strong if played correctly, but he definitely has some flaws. Next up, Athena. Athena definitely going to be one of your top supports. Always has been, probably always will be. Athena has great global presence, pretty good mobility, great CC with the taunt. You can taunt multiple people late game. Your taunt's going to be on a very short cooldown. The ultimate can get you around the map wherever needed. Her wave clear is pretty good. The ability to rotate to solo lane pretty early and then still be able to ultimate over to a Gold Fury fight if need be is something that I don't think should be overlooked, and definitely a support you should be looking to get in the banning phase if possible. Bacchus is currently one of the best supports in Smite. He used to be very mana hungry. Recently they buffed his drink ability. You don't have to wait so long to get to mid to late game to start fighting with Bacchus. Pretty much as soon as you hit level 5, you're a threat. Very safe engagement tools. Just use your one, drink, increases your protections, and belly flop in. Once they come down from the belly flop, they're slow. As long as you're at least tipsy with his passive, you can use your 3, the belch, and it's a nice stun. And of course, Intoxicate, his ultimate, does a ridiculous amount of damage. If you're building like Soul Reaver on Bacchus, there's no reason you can't like one-shot the enemy mage in the late game team fights. Alright, next up we have Cabrakan, B tier. Cabrakan is a situational pick, decent amount of damage, ult which forces a leap. So if you have someone like a Elixer on your team that's going to be looking to capitalize on people jumping out of fights, Cabrakan can be pretty decent. His best wave clear is the earthquakes, but to use them you have to stand in the middle of the wave, which puts you in harm's way. His overall CC is not that great. He's got a couple stuns, and that's really about it. He's not the tankiest. You could have some fun with him, but not the best pick. Fafnir going to be one of your strongest supports. Pretty decent laning phase. Great engagements. He's got a disarm on his jump. He's got a great stun that does a lot of damage. He's got the buff for allies that gives them attack speed, damage, and heals yourself. So he's got a little bit of sustain. And then that's not even to mention the ultimate. That dragon form, you can be so aggressive. You can shred the enemy's support protections. You can buff multiple allies and yourself with just so much attack, movement speed. Plus your ult is basically a free Aegis. Like Bacchus, Fafnir does a lot of damage. If you play it right and you don't go into fights when you know your dragon's about to tick down, you're about to turn back, you'll be fine. And Fafnir is one of the strongest team fight supports in the game. Notice I said one of. Gebbity Geb. I think Geb is balanced. His early wave clear is not the best. With the shock wave, you can do a decent amount of poke with it and clear at the same time. That is nice. I do like that. I do like his escape. The shield is really why you pick Geb, though. In the early game, Geb is not that effective, but once you get to those late game team fights, and you can actually start... Oh, I dropped my water bottle. Once you can actually start utilizing that shield, using it as a cleanse for when your allies get CC'd, and the additional health it's going to give them once you have that thing leveled up, it's crazy. You are going to want to pick up Blink on Geb, because he doesn't have a leap, and I do prefer Guardians with leap. His ultimate, just the stun, the fact that it does a percentage of their max health to all enemies in the ult, it's pretty freaking strong in a team fight. Being able to shield one ally is not going to be as useful as like Fafnir, who can buff his entire team with the ult and then come at you. You know, Geb's more of a, I can save one person, I can sort of peel with the knock up. Geb is definitely a viable option. just know that you're going to have to make it to late game before he gets really effective. I think Guan Yu is at A+. I think he's a better support than Geb. Guan Yu, pretty mana hungry early on, obviously. That's his main weakness. But the Tallow Assault is going to give you great wave clear. The heal that you can use as a self-heal, and you can actually heal minions and your ADC with it. It's going to allow you to be pretty aggressive in lane. His ult, one of the highest base damage physical ultimates in the game. You should easily be able to get a kill if the enemies aren't careful. That heal in team fights can get pretty crazy, especially once you have cooldown online. His engage with the ultimate's pretty good. You can set up a lot of kills with the stun on the end of it. You can slow with his one, though I don't really use it for the slow too often. Just the ability to shred protections from the enemy support and give them to yourself, I think, is undervalued. Definitely give Guan a try, because I do think he has a lot of potential and brings a lot to the role of support. Poor Khepri. The banhammer hit him so hard. He used to be up here, and now I think I'm going to put him in A-. Khepri has good wave clear. Great wave clear, actually. I love his ultimate, how you can revive a teammate, but it's pretty difficult to actually pull off. You know, you have to be pretty careful. You don't want to put the ult on them too early, because then the enemies are just going to wait your ultimate out until it's gone, and then they're going to kill your teammate anyway. I mean, he does have a long-range stun, which I kind of like, and the abduct, his little I'm going to drag you toward my team move is pretty interesting, but in a team fight setting, Khepri can only really lock one person down. He doesn't have any engagement tools. Outside of a pretty strong laning phase, Khepri really doesn't shine that much. I mean, I honestly think he could use kind of a buff, because he really doesn't bring anything to the table that is that much more valuable than any other support. Yes, his ultimate can potentially save lives, but you can save lives with other supports just by peeling better. I do have a Diamond Khepri, so obviously I enjoy Khepri as a character, but at this point he is not at the top level. I think Kumba is probably in the same tier as Guan, just above balance. Kumba has a great amount of CC, nice amount of damage, decent wave clear, best peel in the game. Bar none. Best peel in the game. Max that mez out, and it is going to leave somebody just standing there, not able to do anything for so long. His ultimate, just knocking somebody up. Great setup for other ultimates like a Kukulkan ult or a Ra ult. The root is pretty nice too. Pretty annoying. In team fight, heal for his team, protect the squishies. Just anybody tries to sneak up on your mage or your ADC, you're just going to be mezzing them, rooting them, and ruining all their fun. Kumba's great at that. Kumba's great at ruining everyone's fun except for the person playing Kumba. Or his team. Your team's going to love you, but the enemy team's going to hate you. The only problem with him is his wave clear is also his escape. The best peel in the game. I think Odin's balanced. Once he hits level 2, and he's got the shield and his jump, he can just be ridiculously aggressive, right? You know, he's got a slow with his 3, that's pretty nice. The shield also gives him health. Pretty great wave clear, honestly. His main problem for me is he doesn't have any hard CC. You have the slow, and you can trap people in your ultimate, And that's about it. Use your ultimate in team fights. It's pretty effective at separating the enemy team, zoning them where you want them. It can, in some cases, force people to pick up the Phantom Relic. Any character that can force people to get a relic specifically for them, and that's a win in my book. Sobek, going to be slightly above the point of balance. Sobek can pluck the ADC out of position so easily, just dashes in, tosses them behind him. If their ADC's escape is not up, they're going to be in some serious trouble. Sickening Strike, I think that's what it's called, which is going to allow him to self-heal. It's also a pretty decent wave clear. Tailspin, the knockback, pretty good. Plus he's got his big ol' ultimate, which is a slow, gives you protections, does a butt ton of damage, and it gives you mana back. So you're going to be doing your ultimate, you'll probably come out with more mana than you went in with it. Like once you have a couple items under your belt, you don't have to go back to base unless you want to with Sobek, which is very nice. Sobek is honestly pretty underrated as a support. Sylvanas is going to be balanced. His wave clear is certainly pretty unique for a support, and the fact that you're going to be using auto attacks to clear the wave. His one, where you can plant a seed, which is going to sprout and then allow you to get mana over time, gives him great sustain. His two, the heal, pretty nice, especially late game. And then he's got the 3, which is a pull, which is a safer version of Sobek's pluck. Root him, you pull him, you pop your 2, which not only heals you, but does damage over time to your enemies. And then that's not even mentioning his ultimate, which is a nice knock-up. Plus, it's also going to do damage over time. So Sylvanas tick damage with his heal thing, and his ultimate is going to be pretty damn strong. One thing I don't like about Sylvanas, doesn't have an escape and very slow. Bad combination. You don't want to get ganked by the jungler, so be careful. He's another one of those supports you probably want to get blink on, but overall, great sustain in lane, very good at what he does. Terra, best support in the game. Why is Terra so strong? Well, young one, I will tell you. You set up your monolith, you dash into the monolith, turns it into damage over time. If the minions are standing in that damage over time, they're going to be getting pretty weak. You dash again, preferably through the archers, and you just full cleared the wave at level 2. Plus, you probably rooted the enemy ADC or support inside your big circle as well, which did a lot of damage to them. And rooted them in place so your ADC could get some shots in. Like, seriously, Terra is just crazy in lane. You should not be losing to anyone in terms of clear unless they have, like, a Neath or some other very strong ADC wave clear as well as pretty good wave clear themselves. Should not be losing lane. Your 2 is your stun, which is great. They recently buffed it to where it doesn't take so long for the 2 rocks to slam together. It is amazing. You're going to be insta-clearing the wave. The enemy's still going to be trying to clear the wave. You're going to be slapping them around with your rocks, stunning them. There's nothing they can do. They're taking free poke damage from you. I haven't even mentioned the ultimate yet. Best utility ultimate in the game. Bar none. It's ridiculous. You can use it for the movement speed, to get people out of fights. You can use it to get yourself and teammates into fights. You can use it for, you know, just the cooldown reduction for your entire team. Your entire team in the middle of a fight is going to have reduced cooldowns. And their mana costs are going to be practically nothing. Plus, if anyone takes 4 hits while Terra's ult is on them, it gives them a little heal as well, because why the fuck not? Rooting, stunning, ulting. You know, Terra just brings so much control to a fight. It's unmatched by any support. Try her out. have fun. Terra, best support. Xing Chen, I think he is balanced. Pretty decent wave clear with his 1. Decent early control. And then his 3, the double jump. Pretty good engagement tool. I'd say the best thing about Xing Chen is his passive. Late game, the amount of self-sustain you're going to give yourself with that HP 5. His ultimate recently got a buff, so the windup is not as long. He is the jack of all trades for supports. Definitely try him out. I think you can have a lot of fun with him. Xing Chen, pretty good. I think Ymir is probably in this tier with Ares, Khepri. Yeah. I think that is where I would place Ymir. Ymir is a lane bully. That is what he's best at. And there's other supports that can be even more aggressive than him and do a better job of it, like Sobek. I think Sobek does Ymir's job better, and that is why I would say Ymir is where he is. Still, I think he can be fun to play. And that is pretty much the support tier list. For those who skip to the end here, this right here by Fafnir and Bacchus is Terra. And I do think Terra is the best support in the game. Overall, that is my tier list, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.